More concerned about Disney's new Snow White remake, mostly because of what the lead actress has been saying to the press. Rachel Zegler has been described as a walking PR disaster for Disney's.
We've seen that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that
she's not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can. Cartoon. I think I watched it once, and then I never picked it up again. Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once, and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's.
The Battle of the Snow Whites, Disney's controversial reimagining versus the Daily Wire's faithful revival. The fairy tale world is facing an unexpected showdown. Once celebrated as Disney's bold step toward inclusivity, Snow White has become one of the studio's most divisive projects in years, and now it faces an unforeseen rival. Enter Brett Cooper, the rising actress starring in the Daily Wire's competing adaptation. Her version of Snow White, faithful to the original Grimm-inspired spirit, is gaining traction among audiences weary of Disney's modern reinterpretations. Rachel Zegler's Snow White, a modern vision that sparked a storm. When Disney announced Rachel Zegler as its first Latina Snow White, the move was widely praised as a milestone for diversity in Hollywood. For many, it symbolized progress, an opportunity to bring a beloved story to a new generation through a modern, inclusive lens. But the celebration didn't last. Zegler's candid remarks during press interviews reignited controversy, dividing fans and critics alike. She described the 1937 classic as outdated and labeled Prince Charming's actions stalkerish. While some applauded her modern feminist perspective, others accused her of disrespecting the story that made Disney a household name. To traditionalists, her comments came across not as empowerment but as rejection, a dismissal of the timeless romance and whimsy that defined the original. Memes mocking her stalker prince comments flooded social media, and hashtags like #NotMySnowWhite trended for weeks. The situation only worsened when old political tweets resurfaced, polarizing audiences even further. Combined with reports of on-set tension and divisive fan reactions, Zegler's outspoken image transformed what should have been Disney's triumphant reimagining into a PR challenge. The Seven Dwarfs controversy, progress or erasure? Disney's decision to replace the Seven Dwarfs with magical creatures was meant to modernize the story and avoid reinforcing stereotypes. Instead, it created another backlash, both from fans and members of the dwarfism community. Actor Peter Dinklage initially criticized the studio's plan to include the dwarfs at all, prompting Disney to overhaul the characters entirely. But the result, CGI magical beings, angered many advocates who argued that the studio had effectively removed opportunities for actors with dwarfism. The backlash was immediate. Critics mocked the early images of the CGI characters, calling them lifeless and disconnected from the story's charm. What Disney framed as progress felt to many like erasure. Brett Cooper's alternative, a return to the roots. Meanwhile, the Daily Wire's Snow White, led by Brett Cooper, is being hailed as a love letter to the original fairy tale. Where Disney's version reimagines, Cooper's reveres. In interviews, Cooper has spoken about her admiration for the timeless story and her desire to preserve its spirit. This tale has endured for generations because of its heart, she said. I just want to bring that magic back. The film's teaser trailer, complete with lush visuals, classic orchestration, and live actors portraying the Seven Dwarfs, has struck a nostalgic chord with audiences. Fans praise it as a return to the magic that Disney seems to have lost, flooding social media with hashtags like #TeamBrett and #ClassicSnowWhite. A cultural clash beyond the screen. This rivalry isn't just about two movies, it's about two philosophies. Disney's Snow White champions modernization, female empowerment, and progressive storytelling. The Daily Wire's version promises authenticity, faithfulness, and the preservation of tradition. Supporters of Zegler argue that her feminist take is long overdue, finally portraying Snow White as a leader rather than a passive princess waiting for rescue. She's bringing Snow White into the 21st century, one viral post declared. But her critics see something else, a studio too focused on messaging and not enough on magic. Disney keeps trying to fix what was never broken, one fan wrote. We want wonder, not lectures. The legacy debate, has Disney lost its magic? Disney's recent track record with live-action remakes, from The Little Mermaid to Mulan, has been mixed at best. While the films have been praised for diversity and spectacle, many longtime fans argue they've sacrificed heart for headlines. Even David Hand, son of one of the original Snow White directors, has spoken out, saying Disney's remake loses the simplicity and sincerity that made the original timeless. His critique resonated deeply, with fans echoing his sentiment that the studio has drifted from the charm that once defined it. Two Snow Whites, two futures. Reports now suggest that Rachel Zegler is privately frustrated by the growing enthusiasm for Cooper's rival adaptation. Insiders claim she remains proud of her progressive portrayal, but the public mood is shifting. The competition has become more than a creative duel, it's a cultural litmus test. On one side stands Disney, betting that reinvention will keep fairy tales relevant. On the other, the Daily Wire, wagering that audiences crave nostalgia and sincerity. Whichever film wins the hearts of viewers may determine not just the future of Snow White, but the direction of Hollywood storytelling itself.